the Albert Bartlett Novices Hurdle, the Grade 1 for staying hurdlers. This is a race I love, Will. I feel like I love it because you don't have to really get stuck in early on this one. We've talked about it in the past. There's loads of big price winners in here. I do feel like you need to have something on your radar from a long way out if you're going to find the big price winners in here. And then you do get the classier element in there as well. The year we had Monkfish, Time Hill, and I want to say Fury Road. I don't know if it was.
Yeah,
the three of those. Yeah, when they were battling in the finish, like that was a year. It was like, wow, this has turned into a Grade 1 novice hurdle. But then it swiftly turned back now, where it looks like 140s horses would be more than worthy of being single-digit prices for this particular race. A lot obviously still depends on the Yellow Clay and Final Demand where they go. It does seem, to all intents and purposes, Willie Mullins hasn't said in the slightest that the Final Demand will come to this race, so we'd have to say he doesn't come here. The Yellow Clay, there is a bit of money behind him on the exchanges, but it's nothing significant. I still don't think they definitely know where he's going, although Gordon has said in every interview this season he goes to the Turners, so I'm still basing myself off the back of that. If the Yellow Clay did come here, I still think he's such a good horse that he would probably like warrant being short, and he might go in there. But like he'll end up being probably too short a price to have any confidence to bet him, and he might sit back as one of those where he'd just be, I don't know. I couldn't really get involved in him. The ones that are, at the moment though, that are bigger prices, which potentially could all shorten up when those two don't come to this race. The Big Westerner, the mare, I think she needs to find quite a bit in a typical year to win an Albert Bartlett. For all that she's entitled to, she doesn't. I don't think she deserves being the sort of price she is in comparison to some of the other horses that are in here. Wingmen's interesting because same connections as Yellow Clay. They keep running them against each other all season, and Gordon said he'll come here. He thinks he'll stay, which isn't exactly a glowing reference, but again, it's another indication that we'll run Wingmen there because then at least the owners have got a runner, and I can run the Yellow Clay in the race I want to run him in. Feel like there's a bit of that going on. I think it may be owners' disagreement, but Jasmine DeVoe's the one that is starting to jump out at me more and more. I think about him because I forgave him after his hurdles debut. He jumped like a piano, and then he's only a small horse as well. And I thought to myself, well, look, he's entitled to improve being a novice. Lots of Willie's horses weren't jumping well first time out, but then next time out, he wasn't really very good. In the Lawlers and Nays, Paul really did mind him when it was on bad ground as well. But when they put the cheek pieces on him last time, he did seem a bit better in himself. Everything was going a bit slower over those hurdles as well, for all that he was behind like really decent Grade 1 animals in there. I feel like the Albert Bartlett is the type of race that would suit him, and he has got that back class being a champion bumper winner that would see him in good stead. I don't really know whether he's like, even though he's 12-1 for this, there's I don't really know if he's the type of horse that makes me think, Jesus, he's 12-1, like you've definitely got to have him in your book, or he's the type of horse that I could just think I could leave him alone, and if he goes and wins, I might just think, actually, I don't mind that I didn't bet him because there was reasons to sort of take him on. But there isn't anything that's at the bigger prices as it stands at the moment that really jumps out to me for a bet. The only horse I could think about at this moment that I would want to strike a bet on is Jasmine DeVoe. But in saying all that, I haven't had a bet on anything in the Albert Bartlett. Although that's not true. I did back Final Demand for the Albert Bartlett. So Willie Mullins, if you're listening, send Final Demand to the Bartlett. But like, it looks a good race. We know you can get stuck into this one nearer the time, Will. But was there anything you already liked this far out? Because I think there was.
Yeah, there is. Jamie Snowden's Wendigo. I put up at, I think it was 20-1, into about 14-1 now, non-runner, no bet, which is edging towards the realms of the price that it probably should be at this stage. But this race, I mean, it's chock full of horses who the winners of this race previously are, you know, they're bubbling under. They're horses that haven't quite had the right test that they need at this stage of their career. And that's the reason we get so many big priced winners of it, because the form isn't in the book for this particular test. I mean, for these horses, 3 mile, proper stamina test track, Grade 1, there just aren't those races up until this point of the season. So that's why we often find something improving, something at a bigger price, etc. And I thought Wendigo, on what he'd done over hurdles, just in a couple of small hurdle races, even before the Challow hurdle, I thought he was a horse that was, you know, had some real ability. And it turns out, you know, that 2 mile Hexham Novices hurdle in October, where he got beaten by Battleborn Lad, at the time, connections were probably scratching their heads thinking, have we gone up to Hexham and got this potential future Grade 1 horse beaten? But Battleborn Lad, of course, won the Grade 2 Novices hurdle at Haydock's Grand National Trial meeting, didn't he? So good horse there. And then in the Challow, you know, he was always just going half a stride quicker than he ideally would have potentially liked to. But I love it when horses, when they are in a race like that and they're going half a stride quicker, and you can see the jockey is always just edging them into the bridle, when they still have something left to hit the line, you know, that to me is a real positive, because it shows they've got the engine in there and they've got the attitude in there. There are plenty of horses that if they go half a stride quicker for the first half of the race, they've either got nothing left or they don't want to have anything left. Whereas with Wendigo, he hit the line strong. He was clear second best. Would never have beaten the new line over 2 miles, 2.5, 3 miles, 4 miles, whatever. But he'd have beaten the rest comfortably over 3 miles had that race been run over 3 miles. So he to me is a real potential improver up to 3 miles. I quite like him. And Jasmine DeVoe, yeah, he's the other one I looked at. And interestingly, with the Albert Bartlett, there's only 12 hurdles they jump here. And you, of course, have that long run between the second last and the last on the new course there. So as long as he can sort of get over the hurdles previous to that and then just use his galloping in the closing stages, that will help him. And it's the same number of hurdles that he had to jump in the DRF race, only 12, despite going over further. So, look, he's a player, but I do, you know, it is 12 hurdles to jump. You know, if there were no hurdles to jump and it was a 3 mile flat race, Jasmine DeVoe would probably win by half a furlong. But just for me,
and I think
Wendigo each way.
I think that's where I feel a bit with Jasmine DeVoe. Like, I feel like there's enough in you to know he probably won't win it. He might run well or be eye catching, or he'd be the horse that was the unlucky loser in there. But I don't know. It's one of those though, because obviously we're getting this out when we're getting it out. By the time we do the live preview, we'll should have a real good idea of what the fields are going to be. But like, there is a lot that could change in the fact that if the yellow clay does come here, it will even change the type of test that this race is, because he was nice, good and travelling in that Lord of the Nathan. I'm sure he'll be fine further in trip, but where we talk about that long running, he's the type of horse that if he did come in here, I can imagine they'll just all be at it from a long way out, and he'll just be cantering clear, and then that's when the only way that the horses would be able to potentially get to him is because they're out jumping him or any of those types of things. But please, Gordon, just send him to the Turners, because I think he's got a chance in there as well. It's not even for the fact that I definitely think he'll win the Turners. It's because I want the horse to go to the race that I think he's got the best chance of doing his thing. And he's a good horse as well. But we'll have to see how it comes. They are right when they've got connections and people that are sort of paying their bills, haven't they? If they want to go for a certain target or they want to just win a Cheltenham Festival one, I mean, in theory, if you've got the chance to be 3-1, or it'll probably be shorter than that to win a Grade 1, or you're going to be 6 or 7-1, the logic would say go for the race where you're 3-1 because you've got more chance of winning it, wouldn't it? But
yeah, potentially.
In Gordon, we try.